Alright, here we go. Okay, so I want to talk about, instead of talking about Manhunt 1, I want to talk about Manhunt 2 for a little bit. So Manhunt 2, holy shit, dude. Okay, so I won't lie, when I saw the game like being hyped up, I wasn't really that interested. You know, I was like into games like Halo 3 and Gears of War, which I still am. I still love those games to heart, you know. Great fucking games. And a bunch of other games, right? But when I saw Manhunt 2, I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, it was just so vague. It was like, oh, that's not, like, it's a guy with glasses? It's like, has his head shaped like James Earl Cash, you know? It was just so vague, right? There wasn't really a whole lot. For those of you who've seen the trailer and all that stuff, like, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting, but it didn't have that much interest. And it was like, the graphics too, you know? It was like, oh wow, they're still using that same old grimy renderware engine, or whatever they used, right? For, you know, the making of all the other GTA games, and under the whole GTA platform, right? You saw the graphics and everything like that, and they basically used the same engine, but they would update it every other year. And I'm like, isn't it a little too old now for Rockstar to be using this engine? You know, let alone the very next year, GTA 4 was gonna come out. Anyways, so Manhunt 2, right? I remember renting the game. I don't remember what year it was. It might have been a couple years after it launched. I know we had the Wii, maybe a year after, but you know, I was just so disappointed how like the Wii version worked. And then when I was performing execution, I'm like, what the fuck is this censorship shit? Like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, you're gonna tell me you're gonna be able to perform a kill in a video game and then censor it and not be able to see shit. That's like saying, oh yeah, okay, so here's Gears of War. We're gonna give you a machine gun with a fucking chainsaw on it, and we're gonna let you chainsaw them, but oh, we're gonna censor the gore. That's gotta go. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's essentially what they did for Manhunt 2, and it's all because of the dumbass media backlash and the poor marketing to put that on the Wii platform, because that was seen as a family-friendly platform, as I've mentioned so many times before, and anybody else who watches stuff about Manhunt 2, you know, it's been mentioned many times, and it sucks to hear about it every time it's mentioned. So, you know, I remember playing it and I'm like, this kind of sucks. I'm like, what the hell? You know? And then I stopped like after, once I got to the level where it's the chapter Best Friends, where you're seen playing as Leo, and you're chasing after his friend Mike, and who was part of the project, because that's the whole thing about the game. It's the project, you know, which I have still somewhat respect for in the storyline, whereas others really hate on it. You know, it's like a lot of people like to say Manhunt 2 story doesn't make sense or anything like that, or it's so cliche and all this shit. But I've taken the time to look past it. You know, I played the game for myself years later, of course, because see, when I ended up getting to that part, I was so frustrated with the way the control works. Like, there was this new interface where if you're in the darkness, you have to keep this little circle in between this big circle, or a dot, right? And it moves around. You're supposed to use the advantage of the Wii's, you know, motion controller and all that. And every time I tried doing it, it failed. I failed. I hated it, right? And the controls just sucked. So I sent it back, and I'm like, yeah, never again, right? Like, damn. Like, Rockstar really fell short on this fucking game. So I sent it back to GameFly, and then all throughout the years, at some point I wanted to look up Manhunt Execution. I was like, I missed that game. And then I looked up the original Executions, and I saw Manhunt 2's Execution. I was like, holy shit. Like, this game takes it to a whole nother level with the killing of all the hunters, And then eventually, it wouldn't be up until the summer of 2018 when I would actually get the game on the PC and play it for myself. And this time, it was not really censored at all. It had like sort of a red glowing filter, but you could definitely see like the gore, the stabbing, in the game. Honestly, it's not that gory. Like, you're not gonna be blowing off people's arms and shit, or sawing off their legs, or being able to detach them completely in half or bisect them. The only thing you can do to dismember somebody is pretty much exploding the head. And it's like, and people say this is the goriest game ever. No, it's not. I think Gears of War is gorier than that. I even think Doom Eternal's gorier than that. I think Wolfenstein's even gorier than that. There are games that are just 10 times more violent in terms of manhunt. You look at Last of Us 2, look at that game. Pretty intensely gory, but it's also like this morbid fascination you get from it because it's a video game. It's not real life murder. It's not real life killing. Of course, for me, no, I don't like real gore. I don't like seeing people real death shit. No, I only like violence in movies and video games. I don't like real life shit. Okay, I'm not don't go into this video, if you look at my stuff and see like, oh, this guy likes Manhunt, he must like this shit. No. I don't like real life snuff. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Like, get that out of your head if that's what you think. So anyways, oh man, just playing the game, from the start, and I saw its flaws, but then I also saw the quality of the game. There are parts where I was actually like, dang, this is actually pretty twisted. This game actually really does have some sort of impact on the mind and the way you could feel about how scary things could be if you were in that situation. And I don't really want to spoil the game if you ever plan on trying to play it. It's probably very rare now to own a copy, but I'm sure somewhere on the internet you could get the game, whatever, or a rare copy. But if I may make a recommendation, get the PC version because it's completely uncensored and all that, and it just sucks that Rockstar bent over for the government. I like to quote Retro or Die on that, because he ranted about Manhunt 2 not being that great, and that Rockstar bent over for them to censor the game because, retail stores were not willing to put an AO rated title on their shelves. And honestly, Manhunt does not deserve an AO rating. Is it a game for kids? No, not really. But I just admitted to you that I played this game when I was 12 years old, and many others probably have. And some people on the YouTube comments say they played this game when they were 7, the second one that is, which is like probably in terms of content just as gruesome as the first. Of course, I don't recommend this like game for kids. This is not really a game for kids. It's a game for maybe a more mature to the higher adolescence. It's like, okay, if you're 15, 14, like, okay, fine, why not? But this is obviously not a game that I would say, oh yeah, I'm gonna let my child play this game. Like, hell no. Like, no, I'm not gonna let you play this. Like, no, it's, I just would rather not do that. You know what I mean? But don't make it an AO title. Like, that's just stupid. But oh man, like Manhunt 2 in itself, it's looking at it from my perspective, it's amazing in the sense of the horror aspects of it, man. Like it just hits that core, all it's just it makes me want to put a bunch of black heart emojis all over. And the characters, everything could have been written better. I would agree with that. People's criticism on the story and stuff, like they're not exactly wrong, but the game still has some depth to it that is respectful. And it just meant it left me wanting more. Whereas the use of weapons and stuff, it felt very repetitive in the first game, but in this one they give you even more. And in terms of like my new gameplay ideas for a new Manhunt like title, it's the year 2021. Look at games now. Look at how many different gameplay ideas there are and what you can implement in a new project like this. That's where I'm at right now. And I just love the way how simple, I don't know, a game like Manhunt 2 stood out to me a lot in terms of how it tries to like really touch your soul. If you're a horror fanatic like me, it could definitely get under your skin, but you go with it with an open mind, right? And you find some joy in playing the game and remembering like it's a lot of bad people in the game, but there are also other more questioning morals in the game that leave you like, should I really do that? Should I really not? But most of the time you're definitely killing people who are out to kill you. And it's just like, I don't know what it is, but it's just satisfying when you do like these insane executions, but it's also like, whoa, like that's incredibly insane. But when you dig deep into the story and the character you play as and why it's like it's this way, it makes sense. And it's not just some senseless killing game. There's a purpose to all of it. And I just love when you can just get like these incredibly insane kills. You could open this fucking you could open this fucking electrical box and shove their head in and switch it on and their head explodes, and you can get like a hacksaw and you can do aerial attacks and everything. And it just gives me ideas of a new game and being able to take ideas from Manhunt and creating our own project, and making it where it's not just a linear game like the other two. Let's make it an open world, and have where in the second game you can get two endings. Well, why not we carry the same aspect of that game if Rockstar's not going to do a new Manhunt game? A development team creates a new story IP, I know that sounded kind of funny, but anyways, they create a new one, they create this own little world, and let's have multiple endings. Hey, why not even have more than one character to play as? Because that was one of my ideas for the next Manhunt game, I need a second. How much time I spent talking on this video? Damn, 14 minutes. Oh, I could go on and on and on and on and on. So, I do appreciate if you guys do take the time to watch these videos. I might end up cutting these or not. I might just post them raw as they are. But I really do want to hear your thoughts. If you're a fan of Manhunt 1, if you're a fan of Manhunt 2, just talk to me. And let me know if you're someone who's interested in, wanting to collaborate or something, right? Or you're gonna, are you gonna try and put your foot in the door of gaming? Or are you somebody that wants to create something in the horror world, you know, like, because I want to now. I think that's definitely one of the things I want to do in my life is create something in the horror aspect world because I love I love to be scared. Okay, I love the thrill of something like Manhunt or Halloween, you know, Michael Myers or all the other kinds of things that inspire me. So I'm gonna end it here. Peace out, and yeah, stay tuned for everything else.